Today's Faith Talk, Restoring the Covenant Clan. Theme: Moving beyond modern labels to rediscover the church as God's true, fiercely loyal family. Scripture focus: Acts 4:32, Romans 12:9-10, Ephesians 2:19. The hook. The missing blueprint. We often read the New Testament through 21st century Western eyes. When we look at the early church in Acts, where believers sold land and pooled resources, we immediately slap modern labels on it. We argue about whether it was a commune, a political system, or an idealistic phase that couldn't last. But the ancient world didn't have those political labels. What they did have was a blueprint the modern world has largely lost: the concept of the clan. In traditional cultures, like those still vibrant in places like East Africa today, family isn't a nuclear unit of 4 people living behind a locked door. It is an interconnected web of aunts, uncles, cousins, and elders. It is a tribe. In a true clan, your brother's need is your responsibility. Your sister's joy is your celebration. And the family's survival is paramount. When Christ established the church, he didn't build an institution or a weekly club. He expanded the definition of the clan. 2. The core truth: relationship over system. Let's look at the 2 anchor passages that show this family dynamic in action. 1. The heart of the clan, Acts 4:32. Now the full number of those who believed were of one heart and soul, and no one said that any of the things that belonged to him was his own, but they had everything in common. Notice what the text does not say. It doesn't say a decree was passed abolishing private property. It says no one claimed their things were exclusively their own. Ownership didn't vanish, selfishness did. When a crisis hits a healthy traditional family, a father doesn't look at his brother and say, "Well, my barn is full, but yours burned down. Bummer." No, the family dynamic kicks in. What is mine is available to protect the family. That isn't an economic theory. It's love. 2. The mechanics of the clan, Romans 12:9-10. Let love be genuine. Love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. When Paul wrote this to the Romans, he used 2 specific Greek words: Philadelphia, brotherly, familial love, and philostorgos, the deep, protective affection shared between close blood relatives. Paul was looking at a room full of Jews and Gentiles, people from entirely different physical backgrounds, and telling them, "You are now a single tribe. You owe each other the same fierce loyalty, defense, and care that you would give your own flesh and blood." 3. Breaking the either/or trap. The modern church has been crippled by a false dichotomy. The left swing, trying to turn Acts into a forced, engineered social system which breeds resentment. The right swing, falling into hyper-individualism, where we come to a building for an hour on Sunday, wave to people, and go home to live entirely isolated lives. Scripture rejects both. The biblical model is radical, voluntary interdependence. So then you are no longer strangers and aliens, but you are fellow citizens with the saints and members of the household of God. Ephesians 2:19. A household means we share a name, we share a defense, and we share a table. If a brother or sister in the household of faith is suffering, falling into financial ruin, or walking through isolation, a healthy clan doesn't look away. We close the gap because they carry our Father's name. 4. The challenge: living as the tribe of God. To open our eyes to this reality, we have to start changing how we view the person sitting next to us in the pew. They aren't a spectator, they are kin. To live this out practically, we must ask ourselves 3 clan questions. Shared identity. Am I treating my church family's reputation as my own? Shared defense. When a brother or sister is under spiritual or emotional attack, do I step into the gap to protect them, or do I watch from a distance? Shared provision. Am I holding my time, resources, and home so tightly that there is no room to relieve the burdens of my spiritual family? Conclusion. The world is lonelier than it has ever been. People are starving for belonging, searching for a tribe to protect them and a family to claim them. The greatest witness the church can offer the world isn't a better production or a smoother program. It is a living, breathing, fiercely loyal covenant family. Let's stop acting like spiritual strangers and start living like the household of God.